We set up our investment company, put our resources together, and after a few years managed to accumulate over 30 investment properties in various companies and legal structures. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. We're Tim and Justin and we're excited to share our journey with you, so let's dive right in.
So after college, like most people, I jumped straight into a full-time job. The salary was really bad, but I managed to keep my monthly expenses low and I saved as much as I could. I was determined to accumulate savings, although I didn't yet know what for. I spent the next 2 years earning a little extra income from side hustles and saving diligently. I think at one point I was saving close to 50% of my monthly income. I lived pretty frugally, and it was difficult for sure, but I was super motivated to put away as much as I could each month. In only 2 years, I managed to save enough to cover the deposit and transfer costs on a small apartment, so this made the sacrifice of living on a tight budget worth it. I remember reading Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad series and being absolutely fascinated with his cash flow quadrant. The left side of the quadrant represented the employee and small business owner, basically someone who has to exchange hours for money, and if they stop working, they stop earning. The right side of the quadrant represented the big business owner and the investor. This is where your money works for you. You keep earning even when you sleep. I was blown away by this idea. The investor angle had more appeal to me at the time, so I went on a journey exploring all the various types of investments available to me and what returns I could expect. All my money was in a savings account with my bank at the time, and whilst I made sure to research all the various savings products with all my local banks and select the best yield, I knew there had to be something better than just saving cash in a bank. I also had some money tied up in a retirement fund, which my employer had been deducting and paying on my behalf. But I looked at the historical performance, and while it was better than cash, I knew there had to be better options out there. I also remember feeling really frustrated that I couldn't access the retirement money until I was 65 because of the fund's rules and restrictions. I then explored investing in the stock market. I signed up for various seminars, attended a few courses, and I read a bunch of books. I tried trading for a while, but it's much harder than it looks. And when I learned that 99% of people lose money trading, I shifted my focus to investing. I used everything I had learned up until that point to invest a portion of my capital in stocks. I quickly learned that whilst investing was a viable strategy and returns were pretty good over the long run, it was still too slow for me. Then I discovered property, and in the process I was introduced to my property mentor, Robert. Robert happened to be Tim's dad, and this is how Tim and I became friends and business partners. Robert shared his knowledge with me freely, lending me books, encouraging me to learn, and inviting me to attend property seminars with him. Through this, I learned the incredible power of property as an investment class. Two things stood out to me about property. First, control. I had so much more direct control over my investment. I could choose what type of property to buy and what location to buy it in. I could make renovations or alterations to directly improve cash flow and investment returns. I had huge tax benefits which I could take advantage of, and I could structure the financing in my favor. The second thing that stood out to me was that I could own a property and have someone else pay for the majority of it. Property was the only asset class that a bank would lend you money for, and because of this, I could accumulate assets so much faster. I could own a $100,000 property and get growth on the full $100,000 value of the property, but only require $10,000 to get it. That meant that I could leverage my limited savings by a factor of 10. So the bank gives you 90% of the capital you need to buy a property, or sometimes even more, and then you find a tenant to pay the monthly mortgage payments to the bank. That was an incredible discovery at the time. It felt like I had discovered the cheat codes to my favorite computer game.
Justin and I met at church in our late teens, early 20s. Sharing the same interest in finance, we quickly became good friends. Justin and my stories are similar in some respects. While Justin's investing journey was very much based on him taking initiative and teaching himself many investing skills, mine was initially heavily influenced by my father and later by Justin's journey. I was that kid who picked up coins along the street everywhere I went, and so responded well to my dad's encouragement of good money practices, such as saving money in our piggy banks as children. My father only formally discovered investing at age 40, and thankfully he took us along for the journey. I have clear memories of being taken to property investment seminars, and my sister and I being the youngest attendees, between 12 and 14 years old. Naturally, the seminars were aimed at grown-ups, and so I probably only retained 10% of the content. I also remember my dad encouraging me to read investing books, and while I enjoyed finance, this didn't sound particularly exciting to me at the time. At age 14, I was sent into town on my bicycle and encouraged, or rather told, to get a job by the end of the day. I started my first job the next day and worked 4 further jobs successively during high school. This excluded temporary side hustles like house sitting and mowing lawns. I was that guy who spoke finance every opportunity I could. Everyone who knew me and who I spoke to knew I had this goal of retiring by 40. I actively spoke it into my reality. I just wasn't going to be that guy who worked until 65 before retiring. This strong ambition was partly fostered by the fact that my family worked every weekend. We'd start at 4 a.m. on a Saturday morning mowing the church lawns, and thereafter worked on our property or the investment properties my dad had bought. We managed the properties ourselves and maintained them ourselves, meaning that there was always work to do. The years of family work fostered a desire to be free and to get out of the rat race. Being finance-orientated, I studied accounting, tax, auditing, and financial management at university, despite not being passionate about any of these topics. What I was after was a high-paying career to allow me to fast-track my investment portfolio, thereby enabling me to achieve my ultimate goal of being able to retire before the age of 40. At university, I got a job which paid sufficiently for me to start investing in index funds at age 20. At the time, I loved how passive index funds were and how relatively low risk they were for my level of financial education. At this age, I didn't know much and didn't have much money to invest, so I felt like my options were limited. By age 23, I had saved up $10,500. I used this as a down payment on my first property, which cost $57,000. At the time, I was completing my internship for my degree and was earning a measly $429 per month. I knew it was impossible for me to get a mortgage because the cheapest property I could find was roughly $57,000. This meant that after my down payment, the monthly mortgage payment would equal my entire salary at the time. And yet my father encouraged me to try because, in his words, you don't know until you try. I took his advice and approached 2 banks. To my surprise, one bank supported my investment for the mere fact that I was becoming a chartered accountant. My journey towards financial freedom had leveled up. Justin and I both had firm goals to retire in our 30s. We knew that our careers alone would simply not be enough to get us there. If we were going to achieve this ambitious goal, we would need to be as aggressive as possible while still carefully managing our risk. And we knew that we would need to continue to use leverage to our advantage. We learned that leverage applied to more than just money, but also to time and skills. As we started accumulating more property, our time became more and more limited. We were managing our own tenants without any help, and as we grew, we found that we were using all our time dealing with tenant management and not growing our property portfolio. So we used leverage in the form of other people's time and other people's skills, and hired agents to look after our properties for us. This freed up our time to think strategically again and focus on expanding our property business. Justin and I were still on our own individual investment paths at this point, but after a few years we realized that we could combine forces and leverage against each other's money, time, and skills to accelerate our journey to early retirement even further. We set up our investment company, put our resources together, and after a few years managed to accumulate over 30 investment properties in various companies and legal structures. The biggest catalyst in our journeys to early retirement was the discovery of an asymmetric investment opportunity. So if you're like me and you didn't know what asymmetric meant, I'll quickly break it down for you. Basically, it means lacking symmetry. So an asymmetric investment is when the potential upside or gain of a position or investment is much greater than its potential downside or loss. This asset deserves a whole video for itself, and we'll reveal it in great detail in an upcoming video.
Lesson 1. Focus your efforts. You need to have a crystal clear goal and keep it front and center at all times. In other words, keep your dream in sharp focus by really submerging yourself in it. You want to be working towards financial freedom every single day, especially in the beginning when you're still learning and lack some confidence. The more you focus your efforts, the faster you will learn and the more confidence you'll have to take action. And this is key to accelerating your freedom journey. Lesson number 2, find a mentor. This is critical if you really want to accelerate your success. Having someone with experience in your industry be on your side to guide you and sharpen your skills is priceless. A good mentor will hold you accountable and help motivate you, especially when you face challenges. They'll also help you network by introducing you to their friends, contacts, and professional teams. We can't overstate how important it is to find a mentor in the beginning stages of your investing journey. Lesson number 3, consistency. You do not have to be the best or the smartest. You do not have to be perfect. Consistency over time leads to compounding gains. If you spend an hour per day going to the gym, think about how much progress you would have made in just a year compared to the guy who did nothing. Consistency is key to success. All you have to do is persist, even when and especially when things go wrong, because things will go wrong. But persisting and working through it when others would quit is how you win. So don't accept no for an answer. Don't listen to negative people who don't share your vision. Pursue your dream relentlessly because you deserve financial freedom.
Some other rapid-fire lessons from our journey include: 1. Financial education mixed with hard work is arguably one of the most important parts of our financial freedom journey. 2. Start investing in an asset at your level of knowledge, but pursue more financial education so your investments can level up. As we mentioned earlier, both Justin and I started with the basics and gradually invested in better assets as our experience and financial education grew. 3. Find your why. In other words, your reason for pursuing freedom. This will motivate you and get you through the tough times. A good example could be wanting to give your child a better life than what you had. 4. It's never too late to start investing. My father's journey started at 40. What's your excuse? 5. Have a long-term plan. A quote that really resonates with us is, "The key to overnight success is in the first 10 years." 6. Speak your dreams into reality, but make sure to combine the words with actions. 7. Work passionately towards your goals and make sure you enjoy the journey. We can't simply live for the day we achieve financial freedom. We have to enjoy the process. Number 8. Try, even when you think it's not possible. The odds were against me to get a mortgage with such a low income, and yet I did it. So always try and never take no for an answer. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed our first video, please consider liking and subscribing. We have lots of exciting content planned around the topics of money, finance, and freedom. We'll also be sharing what we are investing in now to take your financial freedom to the next level. We hope that you will join us on this journey, so hit that bell notification to be notified when we make our next upload. In the next video, we explore financial freedom in more depth, including tips on how to achieve your version of financial freedom. See you in the next video.